help, not a hindrance. The hindrance is because of your conditioning, because of your assumption that these are the lower levels of activities are of far more important than the higher activities. So we don't have to pay attention to that.
Yes.
That is important. Good. So I will stop the sharing session here and start with the content of USB2. Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to the 9th lecture of USB2. So in this lecture, we are going to talk about right understanding, which we have been doing in last 2 sessions as well. So we're talking about right understanding. So we'll continue to talk about some more details of right understanding. And then we'll also briefly discuss about what is the impact of this right understanding on human existence. So these are the two things that we are going to talk about in this session. So in module 2, we are trying to explore into right understanding in detail. So that is what we have been doing in module 2. So till now we have discussed about right understanding in lecture 7, then in lecture 8, which is all under this module 2. And then we are now moving on to the lecture 9 under module 2, which is continuing with the discussion on right understanding. Now, in the last session, that is lecture 8, we looked into the process of understanding, the process of knowing in some detail. And that is what it was. The process of understanding or knowing is the activity of contemplation, understanding, and realization. Now, in essence, all that we have seen about right understanding till now is we have been able to see that the self is the knower. The things to be known is the whole existence. And one way of going about understanding the existence is first understanding the human being, then the existence, and then the role of human being in this existence. That is what we are calling as human conduct. And process of understanding, process of knowing is awakening to this activity of contemplation, understanding, and relationship. Now, in this session, we will talk about some more details regarding these things to be known. So we did talk about knower, the self as the knower. We did discuss about the process of knowing in quite detail. And now we want to look into some more detail regarding the things to be known. So that is what we want to start with. So if you look at that realities to be known or things to be known, this right understanding is to see the reality as it is in its completeness. And things to be known are the human being, the existence, the human conduct. So ultimately we want to know the whole existence, but in order to know the existence, first we have to know the self, who is the knower. And therefore we said it is better to start with human being, trying to understand the human being, trying to know the human being. And only when we know the human being and particularly know the self, which is the knower, and we develop the capacity of the self that we will be able to know about the existence in its completeness. So, we are saying that realities are to be known or to be understood in the given sequence through the process of knowing described before. First, we have to know the human being, then the existence, and then the human conduct. So we'll explore into them one by one. So 3.1.1 is knowledge of human being. 3.1.2 is knowledge of existence, and 3.13 is knowledge of human conduct. So we'll investigate into this in detail, that is knowledge of human being. We will investigate into this in detail in module 3. So the whole module 3 is basically devoted to understanding the human being, the knowledge of human being. So that we will see as we go on. So from tomorrow onward, we will start the discussion on module 3. Around 6 lectures we will devote in that module 3. And there we will try to discuss, try to understand, try to know the human being in detail. Then knowledge of existence. This we will discuss and investigate in detail in module 4. So module 4 is focused on trying to understand the existence, trying to know the existence. And then this knowledge of human conduct, we will investigate into this in detail in module 3 and also in module 5. So this is the organization of the modules to come. So till now we are discussing under module 2, discussing about right understanding. Now, while looking into the details of understanding the human being, the existence, and the human conduct, we will devote module 3 for understanding the human being, module 4 for understanding the existence, and module 3 and some part of module 4 to understand the human conduct. So that we will see as we go on. With this, we can now look into the effect, the impact that this right understanding, this knowing has on human being, on human existence, both at the level of the human being, the self particularly, and the human conduct. So we will now look into the impact of right understanding on human existence at the level of self and at the level of human conduct. So these are the two levels where we have to see the effect of right understanding. So how it shows up in case of the self and how it shows up in case of the human conduct. So we will see in very brief how right understanding reflects the overall activities of the self and the state of the self, and how right understanding reflects in the human conduct. A detailed discussion on human conduct will be done after investigating into human being, particularly the self in module 3 and the existence in module 4 that we have already mentioned in the last slide. So let's look at that, the impact, the effect on the self of right understanding of knowing. So this is the diagram which we have been observing in many cases. So let us recall this. I will very briefly mention this things because I just want to give an idea about how this right understanding is having an effect on the self, the overall activity of the self, the overall state of the self, and also how it has the effect on human conduct. Just to give you a feel. But this we will study, as I said, in much more detail in Module 3, Module 4, and finally in Module 5. So there we will try to unfold it in far more detail, but I want to give you a feel of it, feel of the effect, the impact of right understanding at the level of self and at the level of human conduct, so that you can start processing all this at the level of self. And when we talk about it in detail, you will be able to relate your own experiences to those details. So I'm just briefly placing this, uh, impact, the effect of right understanding at the level of self and at the level of human conduct, so that you can start working on it, you can start looking into it, observing it, trying to understand it, trying to see things which are mentioned here by direct observation, which we have been doing in exercise 1 and exercise 2. So now we can see that if we have the right understanding, if we have the knowledge, knowing, then these three activities of the self are awakened: the activity of contemplation, understanding, and realization, which means realization of coexistence, understanding of harmony in nature, and contemplation of participation in the larger order, participation in relationship. So this is what is called as right understanding. This is what is called as knowing. And if we have the knowing, if we have the understanding, then this knowing, this understanding of coexistence, harmony, and relationship becomes the guide for my desire, for my imaging. So that red arrow seeing there is essentially showing this point that once I have the right understanding, then this understanding of coexistence, harmony, and relationship will start guiding my desire, will start guiding my guiding my imagination, my desire, my feeling, my imaging. So this is important. And once my desire, my imaging is guided by this, then all my thought, my analyzing and comparing will be under the guidance of coexistence, harmony, and relationship. And so will be my selecting and testing, my expectation. And if that happens, then we can see that we have desire which are in line with our natural acceptance, in line with coexistence, harmony, and relationship, which is naturally acceptable to us. And in that case, we are thinking on the basis of coexistence, harmony, and relationship. And we are in a state of harmony within, in a state of happiness within. So we are in a state of harmony at the level of self. We are in a state of happiness at the level of self. If we have the right understanding, and this right understanding is guiding my imagination, guiding my desire, thought, and expectation, then I will be in a state of harmony within. I will be in a state of happiness within. And if I can ensure that all my imagination, all my desire, thought, and expectation is in line with my understanding, that is in line with coexistence, harmony, and relationship, then I can be in a state of harmony within all the time. Therefore, I can be in a state of happiness all the time. I can be in a state of continuous happiness. So this is the implication, this is the impact, this is the effect of right understanding at the level of self. So with this right understanding at the level of self, I can make sure that my imaginations are in line with it. And therefore, I am in a state of harmony within and a state of happiness within. So this is one impact, this is one effect of right understanding at the level of self. At the level of human conduct, we can see that if I have this realization of coexistence, followed by this understanding of relationship, participation in the larger order, then it will guide my imagination accordingly, and I will be in a state of harmony and happiness. And now if I express myself outside in terms of my behavior, in terms of my work, in terms of my participation in the larger order, then these are also going to be definite and guided by coexistence, harmony, and relationship. So this is important, that if we have the right understanding, our imagination is guided by this right understanding, by coexistence, harmony, and relationship. And our behavior, our work, our participation in the larger order is also guided by coexistence, harmony, and relationship. That we have seen at the level of knowing, at the level of right understanding. So now I will behave with human being in a manner that it leads to mutual happiness. And this I am doing with my understanding of relationship, of harmony, of coexistence. It is a natural expression of my understanding of relationship, my understanding of harmony with human being. Similarly, when I work with rest of nature, and I can see my relationship with rest of nature, I can see the harmony in nature, then I will work with rest of nature in a manner which leads to mutual prosperity, leads to my prosperity as human being and prosperity of rest of nature. So this leads to mutual prosperity. Similarly, when I work, when I participate in the larger order, starting from family order and so on, we can see that we will be able to ensure the fulfillment of human goal that we have been talking about. Because when my imagination is guided by coexistence, harmony, and relationship, then I can imagine, I can kind of work out the details of how to participate in relationship, how to participate in the order, the harmony that is already there in nature, in existence. And if I can have that imagination, then I can express this outside in terms of my participation in the larger order, which will help me to achieve the human goal. So this behavior, this work, this participation in the larger order is a natural expression of my feeling of relationship, harmony, and coexistence. And this feeling is guided by my understanding of relationship, harmony, and coexistence. So this understanding of relationship, harmony and coexistence is reflecting itself first at the level of imagination in the self, and then at the level of conduct, the human conduct at the external level, at the level of world outside. So this is the kind of uh, form of human conduct that we see under the guidance of right understanding, under the guidance of knowing. We have also added that if we behave in a manner which is mutually fulfilling with the other human being, then as we expand, it can give rise to an undivided human society. An undivided human society where I can see my relationship with everyone. And I am willing to fulfill my relationship with those who are in immediate vicinity. Though my feeling is there all the time for everyone. So that feeling of being related to all and being responsible to all is what is the feeling of love. And that is the basis of undivided society. At least in my thought, in my feeling, right, I am not dividing human beings. I am able to relate to all human beings in an equal manner. And of course, slowly it can include also the non-living things. But when we are saying behavior with human, we are focusing largely on the relationship with human beings. So if we can have this relationship of mutual fulfillment with other human beings, and when we expand it in our imagination to the whole world family, we'll have a mindset of undivided society, and which we can slowly realize in the world outside. Similarly, when we have participation in the larger order, starting from let's say family order, then slowly we'll expand it to the whole world family order. And with that, we will be able to materialize the universal human order. At least I can see the possibility in myself, and at least I can work for it as a natural expression of my state of the self. So this is another implication of right understanding on human conduct. And as I said, I'm just briefly mentioning each of these things because to provide you with an overview that how this understanding, this right understanding, this knowing has effect at the level of human existence, at the level of self, at the level of human conduct, and so on. So just to give a feel, I am bringing this into notice. But as I said, that a more detailed discussion will be done in module 3 as we go along. And then some detail in module 4 and then back in module 5. But this overview and the interrelationship with each other will help you to see the relevance of what you are investigating in module 3, module 4 and so on, and how it relates to our day-to-day life. So this is the impact on human conduct. So with right understanding, we can have the full expression of human conduct. That is what is mentioned at the top. With this, the self will be in a state of harmony and a state of happiness. So this state of harmony and this state of happiness can be described in terms of this diagram that we have displayed in the slide. You have the choice to give different name to different status of the activities of the self when it is in harmony within. or you can just say that I am in a state of fulfillment, I am in a state of happiness in continuity. So you might not like to go into these finer details. So in that case, it is okay. But if you want to get a clarity about what is happening in the self at different levels of activity when there is harmony within, when there is harmony and happiness within. So that is being kind of outlined here for you to just start looking into it. So when I have the realization of coexistence, when I am able to see that the existence is in the form of coexistence, which is in the form of units submerged in space, and this unit submerged in space, one of the indication is that the unit is able to recognize its relationship with other unit in space. So if I can realize the coexistence in me, then I can see, I can understand that coexistence of unit in space also guarantees that the unit is able to recognize its relationship with other unit in space. We can see that each of these units are in harmony and they are related to other units in space. So this harmony, this self-organization of every unit and the relationship of every unit with other units, this can be seen in the light of realization of coexistence. And then lower activities also will start getting aligned according to the realization of coexistence. So now you can see, when I can see that every unit in existence is in harmony, is self-organized by virtue of coexistence. This I can see for one unit and I can see for every unit. Then I realize that every unit has a definite self-organization, a definite conduct. And this definiteness gives me a feeling of fulfillment, which we are calling as bliss. So when I can see that every unit has a definite conduct, every unit has a definite harmony, self-organization, then I am free from any doubt, any uncertainty. So this state of being free from any doubt, free from uncertainty, that feeling is what is called as bliss, feeling of definiteness in harmony, in self-organization of units and ultimately of nature. So this definiteness gives rise to this feeling of bliss. Similarly, when we come down and look at this contemplation, so when I am able to see the relationship and I can see the participation in the relationship, I can identify the feelings in relationship which are natural in human-human relationship. So when I can see that trust, for example, is the feeling in relationship, human-human relationship, affection, care are the feelings in human-human relationship. natural feelings, then two things will happen. One is that I can see that these feelings, this participation in the larger order in the relationship, they are definite. So they are not indefinite and they are not unknown and uncertain. They are definite and we can know it, we can identify it. So this is one thing that we see, that these feelings, this role in existence are definite for human being and we can identify them. So when I'm able to see this, then I can guide my desire on the basis of that. And I can also see that there is provision for the fulfillment of my desire, which is in line with my natural participation, natural characteristic in relationship. Then I am able to see that the desires are definite and I am able to see that there is all provision for the fulfillment of these desires. So these two put together, I have a feeling of satisfaction, feeling of contentment. So it is not that I am trying to curtail reduce my need. No, I am now clear that my needs are definite, my participation are definite, my feelings, natural feelings are definite, and there is all provision for the fulfillment of these feelings, fulfillment of this role. So if that happens, I am in a state of satisfaction, in a state of contentment. So like that, at the level of thought, analyzing and comparing, if it is in line with coexistence, harmony and relationship, then the thoughts are in harmony because I am thinking of harmonious thing. Therefore, my thoughts are also not having contradiction. And that peaceful state, that state of thought which is in harmony and not in contradiction, that is what is called as peace. And ultimately, when I am able to see my selection and testing, and if it is guided by the coexistence, harmony, and relationship, then as these things are universal, so when I express it outside, the other is willing to accept what I am trying to express or share. And therefore, there is a harmony with the world outside. My expectations are being fulfilled. So that leads to a state of the self at the level of testing and selecting, which we are calling as happiness. So when we have the right understanding in this self, the state of the self will be that it will have a feeling of bliss at the level of intellect, a feeling of satisfaction at the level of the contemplation, a feeling of peace at the level of thought, and a feeling of happiness at the level of expectation. So this is interesting. These are the achievements of the self at the level of self on the basis of right understanding, on the basis of knowing. I must clarify that happiness, when we are saying here, and when we said harmony, happiness is to be in harmony, they are used in two different connotations, two different sense. That continuous happiness born out of understanding of harmony and living harmony is the is a very general kind of definition, which will include all this: the bliss, the satisfaction, the peace, the happiness, what we are defining here. So that's a very generic and broad definition. Here we are using this happiness in a very specific sense, that is in the sense of my interaction with the world outside. If that is harmonious, I am in a state of happiness or harmony at the level of testing and selecting. In that sense, this word happiness is used here. And if this happens at the level of self and at the level of human conduct, then ultimately it will show up in my whole understanding of the existence. And this I have displayed here. In fact, we have discussed this in UHB1 in a very small, kind of time. And in fact, rather, we have just indicated it with the expectation that we will work the further details in some other course, particularly in this course, UHB2. So this diagram you must be familiar, but now we will try to investigate into each and every aspect in this diagram. So we have to make observation about the nature, about the existence, first with these three orders: physical, bio, and animal order. Then we have to study the human order. And in human order, we have to see that this is what is expected. That block of, this human being, with human conduct, that box says that we have to ensure right understanding first. Then on the basis of right understanding, we have to ensure right feeling and right thought at the level of self. With this, we have to express it in behavior and my work and participation in the larger order, which will ultimately lead to realization of undivided society and universal human order, which is the culmination point of the existence as a whole, coexistence as a whole. So with right understanding, we will have clarity about human being, about existence, and the participation of human being in this existence. And with that, we will be able to complete the unfolding process of coexistence, right, through ourself, through the evolved self having right understanding and right feeling and right thought, and then expressing this in terms of behavior, work, and participation in larger order. So this is what will happen, that this self is right understanding now is in a state of harmony within itself. It is expressing itself in terms of behavior and work, which is mutually fulfilling, mutually enriching. And ultimately, it is leading to undivided society and universal order, which is the culmination of the process of unfolding of coexistence. So all this I have briefly mentioned with a view to put things, at one place for you to reflect upon, so that when we go ahead and try to work out in detail each of these things, we will be able to see the connection, we will be able to see the need for doing that investigation, and we will be able to place back the outcome of that self-exploration, that investigation, back into this overall picture. So now if you look at this overall picture of existence, then we can look back and see the transformation that we have been talking about, right from the first session on UHB 1, where we are talking about basic human aspiration of continuous happiness and prosperity being fulfilled by right understanding in the self, relationship with human being, and physical facility with rest of nature. Right there, we had talked about this transformation from animal consciousness to human consciousness. But there it was very preliminary. Now, with so much of investigation into the higher activity of the self, into right understanding, into the knowing, the process of knowing, now we can come back and see what is the meaning of transformation in the self. So transformation in the self, we can see, is moving from one state of our self, our being, which is focused only in the imagination. Now we have this self, and this is guiding the imagination. So if we have the right understanding, all three of them, the realization, understanding, and relationship. So realization, understanding, and contemplation of relationship, then this will guide the imagination. So this we have already seen. So this is the transformation from animal consciousness to human consciousness. So this is one transformation that will take place at the level of individual, at the level of self. But along with this, there will be a transformation at the level of society. Because one type of individual leads to one type of society, and that society reinforces back that kind of individual. But if there is a transformation in the individual, then it will start reflecting at the level of society, and it will prepare the ground for transformation at the level of society. And this transformation is from moving from inhuman society to human society. So this transformation that we have displayed here is putting both of them combined. The block of self is showing the transformation at the level of self, at the level of consciousness. And this lower block is showing the transformation at the level of society. So transforming from inhuman society to human society. This is the transformation at the level of self and transformation at the level of society. And we are saying that if this transformation has to take place at the level of society, the personal transformation is necessary, essential, because that is going to provide the base. And for this personal transformation, we need to have human education. So ultimately, we want this transformation at the social level, at the societal level. But in order to do that, we have to first ensure the transformation at the level of consciousness, which can be ensured through human education. So this is what, in a sense, we would like to bring your attention to, because all this is put together, for your ready reference, and we'll go into the details of each one of them as we proceed in module 3, module 4, and ultimately in module 5. So with this, of course, this detail about human society and human society can also be brought in, but I will not get into this detail. Rather, I will open this session for questions. So the basic idea here has been that we are giving you an overall picture of transformation in the self of human being, transformation in the conduct of human being on the basis of right understanding, on the basis of knowing. And we are giving only an overview so that you have everything, at one place as ready reference. But as we said that as we go on, we'll discuss about this in much more detail in module 3, in module 4, and some things in module 5 as well. So with this, I will open to question. But before that, let me read down a few self-reflection points for self-reflection. So one is human being is an integral part of nature with a specific role to play. Units of the other orders have a predefined participation and they are in harmony performing those participation. So this is interesting that the three orders have this definite participation and they are already participating in accordance with it. But when it comes to human being has to understand and play its existential role to be able to be in harmony and therefore in a state of happiness. So first three orders are already fulfilling their role in existence. But for human being, the human being has to identify its role in this existence and play that role by choice. If it understands this role and plays that role, has a desire in accordance with this role, he is in a state of harmony within, in a state of happiness within. If he thinks otherwise, even for a moment, that it is not able to see its participation, it has assumed some participation, then it is likely that the feeling, the thoughts that we will have might go wrong, and therefore it may lead to a state of disharmony, contradiction, and unhappiness. So this is one point for self-reflection. The second point for self-reflection is evaluate the impact of right understanding on yourself